Ever wondered how your morning toast might be older than the pyramids? Well, let's take a trip back in time, around 10,000 years before Christ. It was then that our ancestors, in their infinite wisdom, decided that hunting and gathering was a bit too much of a bother. So they put down roots, quite literally, and began the practice of crop cultivation. This was the spark that ignited the birth of civilization. Imagine this, a world where your breakfast staples like wheat and barley were the hottest new commodities, and it wasn't just grains, even your lentil soup and pea salad have ancestors dating back to this era. These humble crops were the building blocks, the seedlings of civilization, if you will. They transformed societies, shaping the way we live, eat, and interact with our environment. So next time you munch on a piece of bread, remember, you're chewing on a slice of history. Imagine trying to change clothes without a washing machine. That's what farming was like before crop rotation. Picture the Middle Ages, farmers scratching their heads, wondering why their fields were becoming less fertile year after year. Enter the game changer, crop rotation. It might sound as thrilling as watching grass grow, but trust me, it was revolutionary. This clever medieval practice involved growing different types of crops in the same area in sequenced seasons. It broke the monotony, but more importantly, it improved soil fertility and increased crop yield. Each type of crop took different nutrients from the soil, and by rotating them, farmers ensured the soil wasn't drained of one specific nutrient. So while one crop was busy sucking up all the nitrogen, the next one in line was ready to replenish it. It's like a relay race, but with plants. Who knew the secret to a bountiful harvest was a medieval version of musical chairs? You might think the Green Revolution is about saving trees, but it's actually about feeding billions. Now don't get me wrong, I'm all for hugging trees, but today we're talking about a different kind of green. The Green Revolution, which kicked off in the swinging 60s, was a radical transformation in agriculture. You see, folks back then were very much into high-yielding crop varieties. The introduction of these super plants, coupled with modern farming techniques, was like a magic potion for the world's food supply. Suddenly, we had more wheat, rice, and maize than we knew what to do with. This revolution didn't just change the game, it changed the whole stadium. It was about far more than just producing more food. It was about ensuring that we could feed the exponentially growing population. So the next time you sit down to eat, take a moment to appreciate the history on your plate. Bet you didn't think your dinner was a result of a revolution, did you? What if your car ran on corn instead of gasoline? Sounds corny, doesn't it? Now, while this might sound like a plot of a sci-fi movie, it's actually a reality. Today, crops are not just fulfilling our plates, but they're also fueling our vehicles. This is what we call biofuels, renewable energy sources derived from plant materials such as corn, sugarcane, or even algae. The use of biofuels has been a hot topic of debate. On one hand, they're seen as a sustainable alternative to fossil fuels, helping to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and our dependence on oil. On the other hand, there's concern about the impact on global food supplies and prices. After all, every acre of corn used for biofuel is an acre not used for food production. But here's where the plot thickens. Enter genetically modified crops, or GM crops. These are crops that have been modified in the lab to increase their yield, resist pests, or endure harsh climates. With GM crops, we could potentially produce enough crops for both food and fuel. But the debate is still on. Some people worry about the potential health and environmental impacts of these crops. Now let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. The role of crops in a sustainable future is undeniable. As our population continues to rise, we need to find ways to feed everyone and reduce our impact on the environment. Crops, whether for food or fuel, will be a key part of this equation. So, what's the takeaway here? It's not about choosing between food or fuel. It's about finding a balance. We need to harness the potential of crops in a way that meets our needs without compromising the needs of future generations. It's about creating a world where we can have our corn and eat it too, and maybe, just maybe, fill up our cars with it as well. So, are you ready to fuel up your car with a cob of corn? From ancient grains to biofuel, crops sure have come a long way. And isn't that the truth? We've journeyed together from the humble beginnings of agriculture, where our ancestors first discovered the magic of seeds and soil, to the expanse of medieval fields, where crop rotation revolutionized farming. We've seen how the Green Revolution transformed agriculture in the mid-20th century, boosting crop yields and feeding a booming global population. Then we shifted gears and delved into the contentious debate of crops as fuel, navigating the tricky waters of biofuel and the implications for our food supply. Throughout this journey, one thing remains clear: crops are the backbone of civilization. They've fed us, clothed us, and even fueled our machines. They've been at the center of wars and trade disputes and have shaped the course of history. But what does the future hold for our leafy friends? Well, the possibilities are as vast as a wheat field under a summer sky. As we continue to innovate and adapt, crops will undoubtedly play a central role in addressing some of the world's most pressing challenges. Imagine crops that can withstand the harshest climates, feeding communities in the most inhospitable corners of the earth. Picture fields of bioengineered plants, absorbing more carbon dioxide than ever before, helping us combat climate change. Envision a world where agriculture is fully sustainable, where every crop planted gives back to the earth more than it takes. As we look to the future, let's not forget the lessons of the past. Each stage of our crop saga has taught us something valuable about our relationship with nature and our responsibility to nurture it. We've learnt that with every seed we sow, we're not just growing food, but cultivating a sustainable future for generations to come. So, here's to the humble crop, the silent hero of civilization, the sustainer of life. Here's to the farmers, the innovators, the dreamers who believe in the power of a single seed to change the world. And remember, next time someone tells you you're outstanding in your field, they might just mean you're a crop. Thanks for tuning in.